Well, Phantom Star crew, we are visiting this evening with the marvelous and talented Marc Gunn. Marc, thank you for joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
So, most importantly, and right off the bat, new album. Tell us when we
Yes.
can get it and what form we can get it in.
Well, right now you can't get it at all. Well, that's sort of not entirely true. The album comes out on March 6th. It is called As Long as I'm Flying. It is an album of Firefly, just like the back of your behind you. I like the video in the back. Serenity
just
movie.
For you tonight.
I appreciate it. It's dear to my heart. But the album, of course, is called, As Long as I'm Flying. It's a Firefly-inspired album. It comes out on March 6th. And the physical CD will be available in March only. So I've realized that people are moving away from the CD format. So I am attempting to compensate where I'm not going to have it available all the time. You can get the CD, the digital music. That'll be available everywhere starting March 6th, but the physical CD will be available in March. So get it soon.
Okay. Where's the best place to go and order that, or can we go do it directly through the website?
Through my Bandcamp page will be the place to buy it. I'm going to be have some specials up so that there are different. There'll be a deluxe package that you can also get if you are interested in that. But mostly that's pretty much the only place I think it's going to be. I think I might have a few copies that'll be up on CD Baby, but not many.
Okay. We have been advance playing a little bit of the album for our listeners, and everybody absolutely loves it. Everybody's got their own favorite, but I've got to tell you that front track, As Long as I'm Flying, is one of the best Firefly songs I think I've ever heard. You guys were really channeling Nathan Fillion in that piece, and I really enjoyed it.
We would be happy. We'll be happy to hear that. I actually asked her what about that. What was her inspiration for writing the lyrics for that? And she said it was inspired by the spirit of hope that seemed to reside in the center of all the Firefly episodes, even at like the low points. Hope and determination through them all. So she saw it as like a tribute to the spirit of inclusion and acceptance that we could all do with a little more of. So I was happy I asked her this.
Absolutely. There's some stuff that we've heard maybe in other formats or in other incarnations on the album, as well as some new stuff. The Reaver's Lullaby in particular is an awful lot of fun. Your children must just love being sung to sleep at night.
It's funny. Close Your Eyes, the original that was written by Daniel Glasser. It's obviously become a favorite of my fans all around, the Reavers being a parody of that. And my daughter, actually Kenzie, she actually absolutely loves the original version. Now, admittedly, she heard the parody, the filked version, and was not so pleased. I think it's a little too disturbing for her sensitive ears. So I'm not allowed to play that in her presence.
I had heard She's Shiny. I saw your performance of it on Facebook at some point, and was thrilled to find it on this album. And I mean, literally, it's not everybody that it's not every CD I run across where I just adore every single track on the disc.
Awesome.
This is a real winner. I really love this piece, and our
listeners
thank you. Absolutely love it. We're going to be giving away some copies once the CDs are available. So we'll get with you on getting copies to give away.
Sure, happily.
I do have a couple of questions from some of my listeners. Touching on the Reaver's Lullaby, Laura Kellner was comforting a housemate who was having a terrible time a few weeks ago, and after comforting them and putting them to bed, walking out the door, literally as she shut the door, pulling it closed, says, "Now go to sleep or the Reavers will eat your face."
That's just cruel. That's awesome.
But I guess let's see. My wife adores you, and the reason that she adores you is certainly because of the filk, but also because of your cats
Uh-huh.
and your cat songs.
Yeah.
She's absolutely wants to know how you found yourself writing Celtic folk music about cats.
It was. There's two answers I could give you. I could give you the what happened specifically, or I can just give you the broad destiny.
Okay.
Actually, I'll start with that because obviously, Irish drinking songs for cat lovers is a wonderful pet project of mine. And when I came up with it, there's some really interesting things about my life and this whole project. Number one, I am Scots Irish. I was born on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. March 17th is also St. Gertrude's Day. St. Gertrude was the patron saint of cats. So it was indeed destiny to write Irish drinking songs for cat lovers.
Oh, that's marvelous. My daughter Lyric, who is 14, adores Catnip Kitty. By the way.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's probably my favorite to play live, actually. But really, when it all came down to, I was, uh, it just hit me one day. I had cats. My first cat I got in 2000, I think probably 2001. In 2002, I got my own. I got a couple of my boys, Titiana and Tore, and somewhere around 2003, I think it was, so about a year later, I was talking with a friend on the phone, and we were talking about Wild Rover, and I started meowing in the middle of the song. And I was singing the song, and for some weird reason, I start meowing, and next thing you know, an album came out of it. It was an idea struck me, and I was like, I wonder what people would think about this. So I put together a website, released a few singles, and it turned out it was more than well received. People who love this album absolutely love the album. It's actually definitely I think it is my top selling CD of all time. So
there are a number of my listeners who actually do make regular requests, not of the sci-fi or the filk, but of the cat songs. So I mean,
yeah.
we definitely have a lot of folks out there who are both Marc Gunn and cat fans. We actually here have 4 of them currently. So
4 cats or 4 cat CDs?
4 cats and one little girl who would love to be a cat if she could. So
yeah,
she's a big fan of the cat music. Jason wanted to know, at what point did you sort of become aware of the fan culture, and at what point did you kind of find yourself thinking, there's something here for me. I could make a living doing this, or I could try at any rate.
I don't know if as far as in the fan culture, I don't know if there was necessarily anything that said I could make a living in it. I didn't when the filk is a term for people who don't know, is the music of fandom, science fiction, folk music or whatnot, and I didn't know what it was when I started playing it, when I was already playing it, rather, because I was with the Brobdingnagian Bards at the time. We were we actually just played this guy's wedding, and he's walking, we're playing music for them behind them at a Renaissance festival, and we stopped and he says, I really love that you play filk. It's just absolutely amazing. We're like, what? We didn't know what filk was at the time. And then next thing you know, he said, well, Star Jedi drinking song, and Do Virgins Taste Better, and If I Had a Million Ducats. These are all filk songs, that you created. And so that was our start for seeing the success of it. But it was Dragon Con in, I guess it was 2002, when we first were invited up on stage with Emerald Rose to sing a song, and we sang the Jedi drinking song. and Divergence Tastes Better. I think those are the two we did, and they were just, it was an absolute hit. It was, that was the first time that we felt like superstars, I guess you could say. People just tore it up. They just absolutely loved the music. And from there, we started doing more conventions. And when I went solo in 2009, that was definitely one of the main things that I was starting to work at. It was at the time I was also looking in, trying to find that balance between traditional Irish songs and sci-fi drinking songs. But I realized that most of my fans, most of the people who really love, are passionate about my music, they love the sci-fi stuff or the Cats songs, the filk basically. And so that's really what I've been focusing on, especially the last couple of years. My wife being a great proponent to say, Mark, focus. I have a bad habit of going all over the place.
I've definitely been through that myself. Although I should tell you, you are the reason my wife took up auto harp.
Nice. Awesome.
So at some point, there will be a video posted on Facebook that will be entirely your doing. We'll leave it there.
Awesome.
My probably our favorite listeners, the Hoaglands, sent a whole slew of questions, but they sent one in particular I wanted to share with you. So they asked about the Cat songs. We've kind of covered that, and what she said was, "We saw and listened to your daughter's creativity. We bet you are very proud of her."
Oh, definitely.
I wanted to pass that along.
I love it when she gets on stage. One of the best weekends this past fall. We don't practice first off enough. I would love to. I haven't figured out how to work that into our lives better. But last fall, she came with me on a couple shows. One to the Indiana Renaissance Festival and then to the Louisiana Renaissance Festival. So she did shows with me, especially at the last one. And by the end of the show, she was just nailing it. It was beautiful to see. And it was just, because she was awesome. You could see her develop as just from the shows, each of these shows. By the end of it, she had this thing. We sing I'll Tell My Ma together. And so we did this, I'll tell my ma when I get home. And I started doing some harmonies and such. But a lot of times I'll sing softly in the background just so she remembers the lyrics and whatnot. And during this last show at the fair, she's like, shh, 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 and he has her fingers, grabbing her hand, shut up. And it turned into, not only was it cool to see that she knew the lyrics and could sing it without me, but it was also awesome to see the comedic timing that she had for being a performer. Whether she will actually follow my footsteps, I don't know. But it's awesome to see that.
It's absolutely wonderful when that happens. We have a 14-year-old who has who works very hard to overcome Asperger's. We took her to a convention recently, and we were very worried because of the whole social aspect of this thing. And about 10 minutes into the first trivia panel, they realized she knew so much about everything, anime and Sailor Moon, and just everything they asked her, she knew the answer to. The next day, they made her a panelist.
Nice.
As I guess a nerd, when you see your progeny doing so well at something you love so much, it is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
it is a lot.
It really is. It's awesome.
And I want you to know that you are pretty much responsible for the success the Phantom Star has enjoyed. However well we've done, largely it is because Marc Gunn has created such an immense body of work that we're able to offer.
There's always something new for you to play.
There's always something new, and there's always something good. I'm particularly fond of the "My Father Was a Werewolf" song, the Harry Potter bit.
Awesome.
That's the harmonies you do in that are astounding. And
thank you. I love that song. that was actually my first exploration of just creativity with music. So a lot of the music that I create, admittedly, you create something and you stick with what you know works, what's you know is good, what you're comfortable with. What Colors Your Dragon? That whole album actually was me doing things that I don't usually do. Like I play Borin on it. I have a banjo part I play on it. A banjo. It boggles my mind that I actually played a banjo on a CD. Um, and other instrumentation. So the whole album was I did everything. I think I might have had I think I had a guitarist on that track. But that was it. Everything else I think was all created by me, and the album is bizarre. I put a subtitle, folk music with delusions of grandeur, because it's not, some of it's comedic, some of it's just weird. I think of songs like If I Had a Horse. Is that comedy or is that just absurdity? And I'd go more with the latter than the former, or the other one. One of the songs I put on there, Monkeys Over Mongolia,
Yeah.
which is another one where I was experimenting. The song was written by basically I had fans send me a few words, and I wrote a song using that, and so it's absolute nonsense. Is it funny? I don't know, maybe. But then the werewolf song was also in that same sort of vein, because it was one where I was like, I kind of wanted to put on some like Paul Stanley shouts a la Kiss, but I don't know if that's type of thing that I'm gonna make my fans go, hey, you're crazy, man. And I said, what the hell, I'm gonna do it, and I did it. Whereas like I had some complaints with A Tribute to Love, where I did similar sort of stuff. I just expanded it and tried to reach increase my creativity and what I could do, and sometimes it had some negative side effects. Some people said, yeah, I don't like that album because like the first song on there, a Gosling, I forget what it's called, but and it's bizarre. It's lyrically it's bizarre. I love it, but doesn't mean it's for everyone.
I have yet to find a piece you've done that I haven't enjoyed, and apparently neither have my listeners. The thing about it is, two or three things always show through. One, your sense of humor, and two, your command of your own talent. You actually, whether you're live, and I've never had the pleasure of seeing you actually on stage while I was in the room, but YouTube fortunately is there for us. But your command of your talent when you're either recording or whether you're live is obvious. What you're good at, you're so very good at, and you take all of these different elements and put them together into this wonderful mix. Whether or not it's whatever the subject matter is, I guess I'm trying to say, it always comes through most importantly that you absolutely love what you're doing and what you're writing about or what you're playing, and that's the joy in performance is really what we love the most about your work. You really are having a lot of fun.
It is. There are two different things. Both. I apologize for all the coughing, by the way. But they are two different things. There's the music versus the sorry, my brain just totally died on me there for a sec. But there are two different things: the music, the live performance versus the music. And I typically try to create music that has a semi-live feel, but not entirely. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more you can do by adding instrumentation. Yeah. Most of my shows are just me and an auto harp. I feel very fortunate when I get to play with some other people, but in general, it's just me and the auto harp. Whereas my albums, for the most part, I've added a lot of instrumentation, and it's cool having bass and drums and fiddle and whistle. It just gives it so much more depth.
It's what am I trying to say here? Two things. I thought of a joke I have for you since we brought the banjo up. But before we get to that, the thing that I find amazing is um, how physical you can be on stage when it is just you and that auto harp. You're up there, and some of the performances I see, you're up there in a kilt with the auto harp, and you are moving around that stage while hugging that auto harp and play. Your command of an instrument that I honestly, before I discovered your work, hadn't even thought twice of is just astonishing. You're very, very good with that thing.
Well, the instrument itself is really easy to play. What I do with it, obviously, I add a lot more depth to it, but and for the basic level, that's one of the reasons I liked it so much. I was playing guitar before I had the auto harp, and I never really felt like I got a command of it, and I didn't really want to. I didn't. It didn't move me in the way the auto harp has moved me. It's always the auto harp has a much better feeling to me. So and so I've learned what I could do with it, but then I've also tried to figure out what I could do to make it more engaging. One of the things I have learned or struggled with, I guess, over the years is that trying to make my music more accessible. You know, with the Brobdingnagian bards, we didn't break things down as much. We made songs, had fun, and it was awesome. But it was not always as accessible, I felt. Certainly that comedy is universal. But when you're creating music for like the average Joe listener who's listening to top 40 radio, it's not something that they can feel that it works for them, and it doesn't necessarily have to, but at the same time, I have always since I went solo, I've been trying to create a sound that could also appeal. It's a crossover. I tell people that I play sort of Celtic fringe. It's not really Celtic music because, number one, I'm playing an auto harp. But what I do is I use Celtic melodies and Celtic the feel of Celtic culture and the stories that I love about Celtic music, and I incorporate them into a song that has a lot more that is something that people can feel closer to. So a lot of my music is taken on what I'm calling like rhythm and folk. It's got this it's got this really cool rhythm sound and feel, and something that, again, that's, as an auto harper, I can say that I'm the only person in the world that's playing like the auto harp like this. But it also gives you a more contemporary feel, which is something that I really love to be able to do.
It's funny you mentioned playing the guitar. I've probably had a guitar since I was 6 years old, and like you, I never really found quite the feel for it. I now play dulcimer, and I just it's hard to rock a dulcimer, but I really feel like I could. The guitar never really grabbed me, so it's fine. It's functional. It works. I can chord it. And one of the things I've noticed about you, and since you brought up the Celtic music, I grew up in folk music. I grew up in Celtic music. I'm the guy whose grandfather took him out to the porch every Sunday, and everybody picked up whatever instrument they got to first and played it.
Right.
And if you're playing more than two chords, you're doing more work than you have to. But the point, I guess, is it's apparent to me that you know this music. You're not just sitting down and borrowing a tune. When you do the mining ship, the Red Dwarf, which is a particular favorite of mine.
Yeah.
You actually know that song. You know it inside and out. I live in anticipation of the day when you're going to sit down and do something to the tune of Roddy McCorley, because I know it's going to come one day, because I know you know the tune.
Yeah.
And the knowledge you have of the music, whether you're playing filk or whether you're writing a parody or whether you are actually doing the actual song, the technical command of the tune is something that I notice in your work, and that's really very impressive.
Well, that comes from listening to running a podcast on Celtic music for 13 years. The Irish and Celtic Music Podcast has been it's been a joy to produce and create this podcast for so many years. But it's I have learned so much about Celtic music through it, and been able to add my own influence on it. When I years ago, I sat down. I had a Celtic musician who sat me down and said, "This is what Celtic music was," and it wasn't what I was playing. And I was deeply offended at the time. But since then, I have pretty much realized that, to some degree, he was right. I mean, there's certain aspects. But I also, because I am who I am, I don't like to pigeonhole things. I don't think it's mostly my job to say if you're playing Celtic music, because Celtic music is a marketing term. It's a music of the Celts. That could be anything, I mean, there's a one of my favorite quotes was on the biography for Black 47, and Larry Kerwin says that he was in a pub and someone says, "Play something Celtic," and he says, "I'm from fucking Ireland. I am Celtic," and I'm like, see, that's how I feel about it. It's like you could look at it different ways, and I have always. That's the reason I've always thought of myself as sort of Celtic fringe. It's on the edge of, but what it is it's like a great introduction. If you want to find out about Celtic music, listen to my music, have fun, and then next thing you know, you're gonna get sucked into everything else, because there's amazing stuff. There's absolutely amazing music out there of all different types of Celtic, whether you're talking about traditional trad tunes to Celtic folk songs to Celtic rock. And I'll skip the Celtic New Age because that's my least favorite.
Well, as a banjo player, I feel your pain. You mentioned you actually got to play the banjo, and you reminded me of a joke. Do you know the difference between a dead squirrel in the middle of the road and a banjo player?
What's that?
Well, the squirrel might have been on his way to a gig.
That would have been true, except for if it weren't for Mumford and Sons, who
they really have kind of brought some attention to that instrument. That's true.
Yeah.
I own a lot of instruments, and I take them down and I play them. But like you, I'm least secure in my boron and my banjo. So
yeah.
Tell us where we can find information on new stuff. Tell us where we can find the Celtic Music Podcast. Make sure we get that info out to the listeners.
Well, the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast is at CelticMusicPodcast.com. The new CD is at FireflyDrinkingSongs.com. Right. And if you want to just get a quick access to my mailing list and stuff, then go to CelticDownload.com, and you can get 21 MP3s for free.
There you go.
So, lots of free music there. But the Firefly Drinking Songs is where you go to get the album, which, it's going to have all the links and such. So
and you are also presence on Patreon. Actually, we're both presences on Patreon now.
Yes.
And what are you going to be up to? What's your next project? I know you have 6. You're gonna pick one of 6.
This is actually one. This is actually kind of weird because for probably the last 10 years, I've had projects stacked. I know with like the next 3 projects where I'm not quite at that stage right now, and I'm in a weird place right now. So, you know, the Firefly CD, I have a good year of promotion more that I can probably do on that. However, you know, as soon as it's done, is I launch the Kickstarter for the next cat CD, which is sea shanties for cat lovers.
Oh, marvelous!
And that's but I say that's the project, but I have a very high goal for this, and if I don't reach that goal, then it's going to affect how things what happens next. So I'm not entirely sure. And from there, I have part of the problem that's been happening over the past year or so that I've realized is that the music business has changed a lot. People are streaming music almost exclusively these days. I mean, I did a poll, over half my listeners are no longer buying CDs. They go straight to the streaming sites or digital downloads. But we're talking, that's knocking the CD buying audience to this big,
Yeah.
And so my latest endeavor has been Spotify. I've been realizing that, streaming is, I've been a little bit slow getting on the streaming bandwagon. And it's time to try to work on that. But when Spotify is a format that's built around singles, so my plan is over the next few months is I'm going to be releasing singles, and eventually I'll put together a full album. But what that album will be, I don't entirely know. I could take, they might end up in a theme or they might not. The cat CD the same way, it might be a theme of cat songs that ultimately that I end up putting a full CD, or it might not. I don't know.
Listeners at the Phantom Star, by the way, can go to Spotify and search for the playlist Phantom Filk.
Oh, cool.
With a PH, PHILK, and find some of Marc's work there. We are new to Spotify, and it is, as everything we do is retro, and I am old. It's confusing and frustrating me, but the playlist is coming along, and you should be able to find it.
Yeah, that's really what it all boils down to. Is it's all about playlists and about adding new songs to playlists and whatnot, and it works great. I'm getting some understanding of it. It really helped this past winter because I put together a Christmas playlist, and it's one that I pretty much had playing around our house all day long. And as I got bored with the song, I removed it. As I found a new song, I put it on there, and it wasn't Celtic based. It was just Christmas music with I had a smattering of Celtic tracks in there, including my own. But these were all songs that I enjoyed listening to, and the playlist did really well. And I was able to see the streams that made it successful. So now I have a really nice base of understanding of how, if I can build up something, how it could be successful.
Well, so in addition to Spotify, we actually have Marc Gunn pieces in playlists on 8 tracks, and then we stream you regularly at the stream at thephantomstar.net. And the very first actual tune that we play every live show, every single Saturday night, is a new Marc Gunn piece, something that we either haven't played before or a fan favorite. The way it works usually is we'll come on the air, we'll do the theme song for the broadcast, and then Buckner Woodward from People for the Ethical Treatment of Fantasy Realm Creatures will speak on a particular topic, although he calls them critchtures. And then Marc Gunn comes out, and if we can squeeze another one in according to broadcast regulations in the middle of the show, we'll do a second piece. So you are always the first thing that our listeners hear.
Cool.
At the Phantom Star. So
that's awesome.
we are very proud to play you and very grateful for all the assistance.
Oh, thank you.
So is there anything you would like to say to the Phantom Star listeners before we say good evening?
Well, I thank you so much for, even playing my music and listening to my music. That's really awesome. We've been chatting for on and off for I don't know how long now, but I really appreciate all of y'all's support and all of you, being a part of it. If you have any thoughts or suggestions of things I could add to my repertoire, I'm happy to add. I wrote down, Roddy McCorley, since I don't have a recording of that.
Well, one of these days I will send you a piece that I wrote about Firefly.
Awesome.
About Wash, who lived and flew like a leaf on the wind, but unfortunately died like a leaf on a rake. You'll get a kick out of it. Yeah, that's why it hasn't been played on air.
Right.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. But it just keeps the number one thing that you are very generous with your listeners. You're very generous with your fans. You're very generous with your patrons and your supporters. And I'm sure I speak for just about everybody who follows you when I say thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You're too kind. I really appreciate it.
And if you have the opportunity on a Saturday evening, join us and
All right.
see what you think.
That would be awesome.
In the meantime,
thank you so much.
I have to go put a little girl to bed, so I will speak with you on Facebook again soon.
All right. Thank you so much, John. And thank you all for listening. And here's some more music.
Thank you very much, Mark. I will send you we'll call it a proof of concept of the illustrated copy of this interview once it's all done.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Sláinte.
Good night.
All right. All right.